Evening, Chit Chat Radio 410. It is that time. It is 7:30 and it is time for Logical Wellness with Camille. That is me. It is time to go, so let's get started. Thank y'all all for listening in, whether you're following us on Facebook, YouTube, IG, Twitch. Twitch, I always forget y'all. Let me not forget y'all. Um, I want to thank you all for listening in. If you all are following me, Camille Jones at CEJ Images, at CEJ Images across all social media. This is your Wednesday Wellness Open Up Third Eye Call show, I should say. And the deal is that we need to open up third eye. So I always start with disclaimers for people who don't know who I am. I am a holistic healer who specializes in lymphatic frequency healing. Lymphatic frequency healing, most of y'all have no idea what that is. That's because that is something that I coined to describe how I use the body's own electricity to reset itself and heal. I am a holistic practitioner. I do not believe in disease, which means I don't believe in a cure, because I simply believe that, as Dr. Sebi said, the only problem we got is inflammation. That inflammation is caused by excess mucus. I see it every day. I see the body heal itself when you remove that excess mucus. So I am not a doctor. I am not an MD. I'm not an ND. I am not giving you medical advice. I am not telling you not to listen to your doctors. I am simply trying to give you the dots to connect, to make sure that you can connect them in a straight line to keep control of your own health. Because if y'all haven't noticed, they're taking every civil liberty that we have away from us in our faces. And most of y'all are just riding the course like, hey, this is the way it's going to be. They are taking, listen, many of you are being forced, okay? Many of you are being forced to put something in your body that you know for a fact is not going to bode well for you, for a fact. And we talked about those facts last week, right? And I may talk a little bit about that. But I need you to understand how serious this is. And you know, y'all, I don't pull any punches with you. So when I say what I'm about to say, it is for comparison only, and it is to let you all know how serious this is. And when I say this, I mean this pandemic, because it is a plan. It was a plan. The plan is not going as they thought it was going to go. And so now they're trying to scurry and make all of these other things happen. So their plan did not work out. So now they are trying to force you to do things that you know are not beneficial to you. And what do I talk about all the time? I talk about the power of the brain. The power of the brain controls everything that happens in your sphere, especially in your body. If your brain is not well, or it's fearful, or it's scared, you will be sick. There's no doubt about it. There's absolutely no doubt about it. That is a psychological power, a neurological, psychological, biological power that we are so removed from, we can only use 10% of it. So I say that because I'm getting ready to say something, and many of you are going to be like, oh, but many of you are like that with most of the shit I say. So I'm going to say something to you because I want you all to know how serious this is for me, and how serious it is for me to give you as much information and as many modalities as I can give you, what's up, Nicole, to keep yourself well. All right. And as somebody who's a victim, who's been a victim of what I'm about to say, it is a very serious sin and problem for me. However, I need y'all to get how important this fight is. Y'all listening? Listen, I'm about to say something, and I want you to get what I'm saying. Forced penetration without permission is a form of rape. And that is not to give light to that particular subject as a victim of sexual assault, I need y'all to understand how serious this is. Forced penetration without permission is a form of rape. And y'all are sitting there and letting your government do it to you. For what? For what? For what? Because you think they actually care how you are? Do you think they actually have your best interest at heart? And when I'm saying trauma, like when you are forced out of your own sovereignty, when you're forced out of your own sovereignty, I don't care what that force is. When you're forced out of it, the trauma, the extended amount of time that your brain stays in trauma affects your entire life. So if they are forcing injections into people that are already scared, they're already scared, and they're putting it into a body that is connected to a brain that is fearful, y'all, you are already asking for this particular virus and every single one that comes after it. And so people say to me, Camille, okay, Camille, what do we do? What do we do? Let me explain what is crucial about the fact that they just decided to approve one of the V's. Okay. And by the way, let's say this reminder, this particular big pharma company has paid out more money than any company in the world for what they do to people. Okay. So there again, dots. Y'all connect the dots. Like Dr. Malone said last week, if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So when we're discussing the importance of this, let's talk about the fact that the government decided to approve this V this week. First of all, they had originally said September 6th, right? Originally said September 6th. So what you have to then think about is, wait a minute, how do you arbitrarily pick a date to approve something as serious as a supposed V without having all the data that's needed to actually do what you're saying you're doing? Like what are you planning? So let's say that first, September 6th, right, was the date. And then all of a sudden, arbitrarily, now it's this week. You know why? Kids went back to school, right? Kids went back to school. So let's talk about the federal law. There is a federal law, and this goes to exactly why they chose a date. There is a federal law that states employers cannot force employees to take an injection that is under emergency use authorization. If it is under emergency use authorization, they cannot force it. And if they do, you have a leg to stand on. When it is no longer under EUA, okay? When it is no longer under EUA, they can force you and ain't nothing y'all can do about it, right? So here's the other conundrum. I'm telling you, your government is the ultimate at double talk, right? So some of my clients have said to me, Camille, well, it's FDA approved now. That means that if something happens, you could sue. Wrong, wrong, psych, nope, can't anymore, because remember, all manufacturers of this particular V have been given a 4-year full waiver, a liability waiver, which means for 4 years, y'all can't do nothing. There's nothing y'all can do. What is bad about that for you is the monkeys and the rats that they were doing experiments on this whole thing that they're wanting to give you. The average time that it took for these animals to die was between 3 and 6 months. In human time, that's 3 years. Big Pharma's been given liability waivers for 4 years. There's a reason for that. There's a reason. And oh, wow, somebody just said, I read where the state of Montana banned the V for employers. Love it. So understand that there is a reason that they are forcing you now, right? And I so love those of you who are with me and part of this higher frequency group that I have. Y'all are standing firm. Y'all are standing strong. So what happened? This pandemic did not go as planned. Many of us have stood up and said, wait a minute. What you're saying to me doesn't make sense right now. And so I'm not going to do it. So they didn't get what they needed in the beginning, right? They didn't get it. So what did they do? Now they have to create other variants. Now they have to scare people or force people into getting these V's when they don't know what this is going to do. And that came from the horse's mouth last week when I talked about that video. The creator of the mRNA technology. This is not coming from Camille's mouth. This is coming from Dr. Malone's mouth, y'all. The inventor of the mRNA technology said clearly out of his mouth that there was not enough testing done, one, on humans, two, very little reproductive studies, and no genotoxicity studies done on any of these V's. So when the government says they have gone through this test, they are safe, he said that is absolutely not true because they have no idea. They have no idea whether this thing is going to harm you, kill you, benefit you. They have no idea because they are still experimenting. They would have been better off if they said in the beginning, look, America, or look, the rest of the world, we have this V that we're working on. We're not exactly sure what it does, but we're kind of sure that it's going to, I don't know, maybe prohibit you from going to the hospital. There are so many people in this country and in this world who are terrified of their own shadow that they would have taken that V then if they had been honest about it. But now you got millions of people taking this V that are dying. Okay. I had four clients today, which is why I look like I'm extremely tired because today was a heavy day. 4 people who came to me today and said that they had a family member or somebody they knew that just died from the virus and they had a shot. I'm not going to say vaccinated because I need y'all who have gotten 2 shots to stop saying that. It gives you an incorrect sense of protection and you don't have it. You don't have it. They've said that since the beginning. So the first thing when we're talking about wellness, because you all wanted to know what kinds of things that you can do to keep yourself well, everything starts in the head. Stop saying something that conflicts with what your brain already knows. You cannot say to people, I'm fully vaccinated. There is no such thing unless you're holistically resetting your limbs every day. That's the only way that you are fully vaccinated. You cannot force the body to do something it needs to do naturally. You need to detox that space so that it has the power to do what it was created to do. So the first thing in keeping yourself well during this is you need to be honest with yourself and you need to be logical. So stop saying I'm fully vaccinated because you are not. And you sound crazy when you say that. You sound absolutely nuts because all you got to do is Google, watch TV, ask somebody else, and or go on YouTube and watch any podcast Dr. Malone has done, and he will tell you there is no. First of all, let me say this: the only way that they could claim that this is doing something is if after you got the V, you actually had your antibodies tested. That's the only way they can actually claim that. Otherwise, they're blowing smoke, right? They're blowing smoke. So if somebody says to me, listen, I'm going to give you this thing, right? It doesn't really do what it says it's going to do. However, it will maybe make you not as sick. First, did you create me? Are you my God? Are you my psychic? So you know what this foreign injectable into my body is going to protect me from, and you're not testing my antibodies, so you don't even really know that. Come on, y'all. It is really not that hard. It is not that hard. We were given a brain to do exactly what we're doing. Take pieces, put them together, and if they make a straight line, then it's good for us. If it doesn't make a straight line, it's bad for us. Remember what I said about 2 weeks ago when I said the body can't do anything without the brain, right? The body can't do anything without the brain. If the brain is conflicted, it is an impossibility for the body to stay well. You heard me? If the brain is conflicted, it is impossible for the body to be well because the body does nothing without the brain. This is crucial. So when we are talking about how to stay well in a pandemic, the first thing you got to do is clear that brain. You got to clear the brain. And you literally, I don't care who in your family, your friends, whoever, I get so tired of people saying to me, Camille, I just went and got the V because I was tired of hearing people's mouths. Well, what? What? Because you were tired of being in people, you were tired of hearing people's mouths. So you don't care about the future of your wellness because you're allowing somebody else to control that for you. Remember what I said. If you don't have control of this, wherever this is connected to is your slave master. You don't have any control over it. So you might as well just sit back and say, okay, listen, yep, I'm going to take this because they said I could take it. It's going to kill me though. But in the meantime, there might be a little chance that it's going to protect me. Come on, y'all. This is the same thing you hear in every big pharmaceutical medication commercial every day, every 2 minutes on TV. This medication was created to do this, but it probably won't. But what it will do on the side is this. It'll take your vision. It'll give you genital gangrene. You do know that genital gangrene is one of the side effects of a diabetic medication. But, because it's on TV and they make a gazillion dollars, then we still take it. So they're going to give you something. And remember, it's the same FDA that allows them to do that. It's the same FDA that allows them to put poison in your food and then tell you later, oh, go ahead and sue the manufacturer. No, stupid, we should be suing you. The same agency is telling you, yes, I'm going to give you poison in your food. I'm going to give you a poison medication that is most likely going to kill you. But I care about you so much that I am going to inject a foreign agent into you that we don't know what it's going to do yet. And guess what? I don't really know, but I can guess it sounds good that it may protect you a little bit. You would look at me if I told you that as a provider. You would look at me like I was completely crazy and you'd be smart to leave and not come back. But that is what y'all are doing every single day. Every single day. Y'all are allowing your fear to make you illogical. When the brain is illogical means no common sense, no systemic, no logical reasoning, right? But remember, the brain is logical. So if you are feeding illogic into here, there's no way that this can actually be well. And let's talk about one more thing before I go into some things that you can actually start to do. Because I realized today, talking to some of my clients, that it is very clear that we are not taught the function of the body. And that's been a goal of our government for centuries. It's been a goal of our government since Rockefeller decided it would be a lot of money to make people have surgery and take medication. So let's talk about one thing that if I hear somebody say again, I think my head is going to explode. My head was getting ready to explode today. Let's talk about this theory of asymptomatic spread. I don't even want to talk about it because it's so dumb. But we need to, because for me, as somebody who sees the body heal itself every day, this is stupid to me. But people who aren't in that space, I get that sometimes I have to remove myself from, because it is not knowledge that should be expected. So I'm going to say this. We were created in nature in perfect perfect form and function. We were created in nature in perfect form and function. The body was put together in perfection to function every way needed to keep it well. The problem is we're human. Everything we make, all the greed, all the selfishness causes us to have an environment that is so toxic, this perfect system gets inundated and can't reset. It is that simple. It is that simple. And I need you to get that. That's the first part of staying well in this pandemic. I need you to get wellness is very simple. I need y'all to repeat that over and over and over and over. Wellness is simple. Healthcare is deliberately hard. It is deliberately hard because how is Rockefeller going to make money if everybody can heal themselves? He wasn't, right? But guess what? Good thing for you that, like me, you're a human. We have the same system that functions the same way as long as we remove men's junk from it. We have our own filtration system, our own trash cans. We have our own way to dump that trash when we need to. But what do, y'all? We keep eating the trash that man is screwing our perfection up with. We watch crap on TV. We eat sugar and carbs, and we eat outside of a raw diet. We drink alcohol. Me too. That's really bad. We drink alcohol. We are not breathing oxygen. And that's something else that I'm going to get into in a minute, right? Because that's me. I'm a sinus specialist. That's what I do. And I need y'all to know how important that is. So we're going back to asymptomatic spread in a minute. So when I say that this was meant to function perfectly from the inside out, man cannot fix that outside in. It's why is that hard for people to understand, right? We have skin that covers our organs and our skeletal system on the outside, right? That's because everything important is on the inside. So stop trying to take things from the outside to fix what's on the inside. It doesn't work like that. I don't care what you say. It just doesn't work like that. That's why people, if you're on medication, when do you get off of it? Have you ever? No. When people are on dialysis, when do they get off of it? Never. Never, ever. So I need y'all to get how simple this is. Let me say this to you. I have seen, and this goes to the oxygen, and this is why I know. Remember, I speak to y'all from my experiences every day. I can't say anything to you that I don't personally know. Otherwise, it's just repeating SHIT, right? It's just repeating stuff. So I speak to you from the experience of my clients and the fact that I have done it myself. I will never tell a client to do anything that I have not done to myself. And guess what? Doctors can't say that, y'all. They can't say that about a med. They can't say that about surgery. But you know what? I'm human like you. I have the same lymphatic system like you. So if I know how to reset mine, guess what I can do? I can teach you how to reset yours. And I have people come from all over the world to see me because doctors have said, I don't know. I don't know. I can't help you. I can't help you. Am I a genius? Nope. But I'm logical. I can read and I can connect dots and I can use my senses and I can watch the body. I can watch what the body does when you do something to it. That's logic. I have seen the body eat its own cysts, its own tumors. I've seen symptoms of cancer, fibromyalgia, MS, name something. Go away when you give the body what it needs, which is oxygen. Which now we're going to go into that second state, and then we can talk about asymptomatic spread. When Dr. Sebi said there is no disease, he is absolutely, absolutely, absolutely right. Inflammation is the only problem the body has. Inflammation in the sinuses, they call sinusitis. Inflammation in the brain, they call ADD, ADHD, Parkinson's, dementia. Inflammation around the nerves, they call fibromyalgia. Inflammation around the muscles, they call MS. Inflammation around the joints, they call arthritis. But let me say this to you, people. We are fluid on the inside. Inflammation at every single point is always water. I don't care where it is. It's always water. It doesn't settle somewhere and become fire, or it doesn't settle somewhere and become something outside of water. That water combines with mucus that is lining the body and stagnates wherever it happens to stagnate. But the same system that sends that inflammatory response is the same system that fixes it. But if we don't know that that system is there and we aren't trained on how that system fixes stuff, we have no clue. And I'm going to show you, well, at least those of you on IG, right? I'm going to show you. Those of you who are listening on the radio, you could still do this. You just have to listen to the description. So when I say that this system functions in perfection outside of man's environment, it requires two things: oxygen and water. Without those two things, you die, okay? Even before blood flow, because blood can't flow without oxygen and water. When you go to a hospital, what are the first two things they do for you? They give you an IV of fluids and they give you oxygen. Those things, y'all, are already meant to be and be processed in this body, which is why, what do they do now with this pandemic? They put you on a ventilator. But if they put you on a ventilator on top of a lymph system that is already full of fluid and mucus, that, people, is what takes you out. So when we are, the first thing, whether you've had the V or not, the first thing that you have to do to stay well is to understand the logical, systematic workings of the body. Because when you understand that, your focus is different. If you're thinking about, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, what happens to my body? What if I get this? But you're not thinking about what controls whether you get that or not, which is the sinuses, then you have a problem, right? Everything is a sinus problem, which is why Sadie said mucus is the problem. I wouldn't have created this facial without Dr. Sadie. And I can see directly every time I touch someone's face exactly what's happening in their body. So for you all, when we say this is a central nervous system, it is your life system. Forget central. It is everything. It is everything. There are no nostrils in the body except for the face. So stop thinking about cardiac problems as cardiac problems. The heart can't beat without oxygen. The lungs can't process oxygen and fluid without the oxygen that comes from the sinus, from the nasal cavity here. And most of y'all don't know there are 6 different sinus cavities that make this up, head and face. And there's a reason for that, because it needs to feed the body. The heart has no nostrils. The lungs don't have nostrils. Skin is an organ. So that's another thing. So you're allowing them to inject into this organ here. Okay. So now you've got the skin as an issue, not to mention your other organs. So I'm going to say this so you get why I say that this asymptomatic spread is ridiculous and stupid. First of all, up until this pandemic, symptoms were the way doctors figured out there was a problem, right? So if you didn't have a symptom, it's because the body was filtering out whatever it needed on its own, right? That's like the point. So asymptomatic, here we go. Let's go logical. I want y'all to pay attention. Where do they test us for the virus? At third eye, right? So this whole conversation could go so many places, because the fact that we're allowing them to put some ethylene oxide up our nose into third eye, which feeds the brain and then the body, is just stupid in itself. But that'll be for another conversation. Where they test us, right, is right up at third eye. So I'm going to explain this to you. That lymph system that I was just talking about does not start here. It actually starts here behind the ears. So my clients, what do I call these? Trash cans. Trash cans. The trash cans have to stay empty, because if you keep throwing meat and other junk into a trash can, what are you going to get? Smelly, rotten crap. You need either the trash man to come or a filter to get rid of all that junk. So in the body, we have 2 major filtration spaces initially. There are many of them, but 2 that I'm focused on. One is here, right at third eye. And this is called third eye, y'all, because there are, and for those of you listening, I am pointing to the middle of my eyes at the what we call the air holes. So this place is where air comes in and gets filtered the first time. You hear what I'm saying? Air comes in the nostrils and gets filtered the first time here at third eye. So let me say this. The fact that they're testing here is a joke. Everybody's going to be freaking positive at some point right at third eye because we're breathing that shit in the air. We're breathing it in the air, okay? It's in the air, along with the fact that we're not breathing oxygen, right? So these molecules sit right here, and then they test it and like, oh, you're positive. I don't care if I'm positive here. I could be positive here all day. Your body doesn't have it, y'all, until you're positive here. So instead of sticking crap up the nose, they need to be doing spit tests, which, by the way, have been around for a very long time, but y'all don't hear about those. They ain't going to do those because those would give you a true idea who has the virus and who doesn't. The body is not sick until this filter does not work. So doing tests up here is it's giving them the numbers that they want, right? Because a ton of people are going to test positive here and not actually have the virus. That's just what it is. And not because Camille said, but because all you got to do is look at a scaled model of a skull and then look at a scaled model of a lymph system. And all you got to do is connect the dots. That's what I did. That's what I do. So the problem, y'all, is not here. The problem, and I'm pointing to the middle of the eyes, y'all, the problem is when it gets to the thoracic duct. So if you are asymptomatic, they can't say that there is asymptomatic spread for this reason. Remember, there are hairs that line the nostril. So unless you are taking your fingers and snorting on the people that you're talking to, asymptomatic spread sounds stupid. First of all, there's no way you can prove it. How do you prove asymptomatic spread? How do you prove it? Because you can't prove where you even got the virus from if you got it. It's impossible to tell. There is no little microbe running around the body that says, ooh, Shelly gave me the virus, because I was able to see and experience that. First of all, there's no way to prove that. Second of all, your body gives symptoms when it has a problem. If you don't have a problem, you're not going to have symptoms. So for them to keep telling y'all and scaring the mess out of you, talking about asymptomatic spread, you should feel embarrassed. You should feel embarrassed. You should, because it just doesn't make sense, right? It's just dumb. It doesn't make sense. So in speaking about how to keep yourself safe, this triangle, clavicle to where the head sits in the body, is your most important part in staying well in this pandemic. I don't care if you've gotten the V or not. Now, if you have, the things that I'm going to tell you over the next couple of weeks, you're going to have to do 50 times more than those of us who have not been. And one of the other things Dr. Malone said last week is, and I said this on the show, the messenger RNA that they are using is surrounded by a lipid panel. Okay? Fat. Surrounded, the little fat is like an envelope to send the message to the cells. That fat is supposed to be dissolving and be removed from the body. But that fat is not being removed from the body, and that's a problem that they're having right now. Do you know where that fat is, where they're finding that fat? In the ovaries, ladies. How many of y'all have heard about cycle problems, miscarriages? I can't even tell you how many of my clients have walked in and told me that somebody in their family has had miscarriages since their V. So you all choose who and what you want to believe. The CDC is called the Centers for Disease Control, not prevention. They control what they want to do with this stuff. So if you choose to want to listen to that, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. However, I would prefer to listen to the horse's mouth. And the horse says that the stuff that we're hearing on the news is horse SHIT. So hey, I don't need much more information from that, right? I listen to the people on the ground. I've heard my nurses come to me and say, you know what? I've had nurses on my floor who have been fighting this virus for over a year, never got it until they got the V. What did Dr. Malone say last week? What did I say he said last week? I said that he said that the spike protein that they engineer is related to the spike protein that causes the infection in the virus. Again, dots, y'all. But if it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Where do you think this information about these so-called boosters are coming from? They're coming from those of you that have become the lab rats and are now having effects that they are now using to determine what type of people need this type of booster. That's what they're doing. That's literally what they're doing. So this is what is crucial for y'all. First and foremost, in staying well in this pandemic, is to pay close attention to what you put into your head. And I say head completely because in your ears, right? If you keep hearing the same thing every day, every day, every day, this virus is going to kill you, 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 your brain is sending so much anxiety to your body can't even vibrate fast enough to filter itself out. Remember, I said that lymph system needs oxygen and water because that oxygen and water balances the vibration, balances that electricity on the inside. But if part of the frequency that you are feeding binaurally says, I'm going to get it, I'm going to get it, and I'm going to get sick, guess who's going to be the next person in the hospital? You. And even if you're around family or friends who are saying things to you that are completely ridiculous, remove yourself from the conversation. I can have all kinds of conversations with my family. The minute the whole V in this whole pandemic comes up, Camille's closing her ears. It may look like I'm listening, but I don't have anything to say and I'm not joining that energy. That is a choice that you all have, y'all. That is a choice that you all are giving up. Some of you can't even stay strong enough in your own stance to tell your family, listen, I love you. That is your choice. Where I'm standing, my information comes from somewhere else. And I am not going to be, I love that. And I am not going to be a part of that conversation. Somebody just said, and that was one of my favorite movies, Candyman. It's like saying Candyman in the mirror. Exactly. Candyman, Candyman, Candyman. And what happens? That is manifested in a guy who's going to come rip all your guts out. Okay. Very excited they're redoing that movie though. But yes, same thing. It is the same in your ears, out of your mouth. The minute you keep saying, I'm worried about, I'm worried about, I'm worried about, that's going into your body, y'all. Remember, we have to vibrate at a certain frequency to even live. Fear carries a frequency that is so low, you're asking to die. Like at 17 hertz, y'all, we can't even hear anymore. But fear vibrates at 19 hertz. So we're close to dead already, right? So what you're putting in here is crucial because it feeds the brain. The brain controls the body, right? So that is super, super important. What is goes in the ears, what comes out of the mouth, because what comes out of the mouth again comes from the brain, which controls the body. So this is very important, even for you to say, I don't feel well, right? Instead of making a blanket statement, go back logically. What does well mean? Like if somebody comes to me and says, Camille, I haven't been feeling well. Okay, well, I'm sorry about that, but what does that mean to me? What do you mean, well? You have a headache, you feel swollen, you have pain here. We have to be very directive about what we say in our bodies because before Rockefeller created this new medicine, back in the day, all we had were descriptions, right? So they call high blood pressure high blood pressure. All right, fine, that's what they call it. However, what is high blood pressure? It is a syndrome where the blood is pumping faster than it should, or faster than they say it should. Okay, well then what regulates blood? Oxygen. What do you need to do? Open up the sinus cavities and empty the filters. Simple. Do not, do not lose the knowledge of the power of the brain. We are being programmed now to be robots, and idiot robots at that. Like some of the things I listen to people, so ask my clients, if somebody says something crazy to me, I will say this to them: I need you to repeat that 3 times to me, and when it makes logical sense to you, then we can have a conversation about it. Some things are on repeat, right? Some things are on repeat. For instance, even some of our doctors, we've got great doctors, we've got not so great doctors, we've got great naturopaths, not so great naturopaths. However, when I listen to doctors on TV that say this is really safe because the science is out there, yet the guy who created this said the science is not out there, that is automatic repetition. Automatic repetition doesn't make it right. Y'all have got to pull out your pebbles and connect them in a straight line. You have to. And the fact that we're not breathing oxygen right now, y'all, and y'all, when I say that, I'm making a blanket generalized statement. Global warming is burning up the earth, but we are the earth. We're burning on the inside. Remember, inflammation. So increases in all these inflammatory things that they call diseases are also directly affected by what is happening to Mother Nature. Mother Nature, we are her children. We are the same energetic frequency balance that she is. She is storming in weather. We are storming in illness. So I need you all to understand that this is not hard. This is a system, and you need to understand the system. This thing that sits on your neck is everything. It is everything. And it's got to stay open in order to send oxygen that is enough oxygen to live to the body. Okay. So a lot of people you'll notice who have sinus problems, or, people who may be obese, or people who have shoulder issues, rotator cuff problems, that is because between your rotator, which is here, and your neck, there should be a downslope, not an upslope, not a filling. Because if it's full here, that is excess fluid and mucus that is indicating your body is not breathing. So when people look at me crazy, when I always say fat starts in the face, not in the body, which is why the first place that we see weight loss is where? In the face, because that's where it starts. The body needs to recycle its cellular function. That takes oxygen, particularly in the fat cells. The function of the body takes a lot of air, takes a lot of effort. But if this is closed, and what I mean is this clavicle bone, your clavicle bone should be visible at all times, right? And there should be a downslope between the bottoms of the ears and the rotator cuff, the shoulders, okay? If not, you have blockage and you have sinus problems. There are very easy things that you can do to keep this open. Very easy things. There are tons of them. Here's the great thing about naturopathic and holistic modalities, y'all. There are millions of ways to keep this perfectly created system working perfectly if you keep putting in it what it was designed to take, as opposed to what man has screwed up, like we always do. Like we've been screwing up since the Garden of Eden. So I would prefer not to trust us. I would prefer to trust creation. However that created me, it doesn't matter what I believe. The whole point is you can watch your body instantaneously do what it needs to do. So for those of you who are not my clients, I'm going to show you something kind of cool. Those of you who are listening, I need you to do this. There is a reason that our knuckles are as strong as they are, right? And the reason that they are shaped like that, they give us the ability to feel things that other people cannot feel, and we can feel them in ourselves. So some people like to tap along their limbs. For me, my dad was always like, work smarter, not harder. Jesus, tapping with fingers would take forever. If you use your knuckles, and those of you who are watching me on IG, I want you to do this and watch your face. Remember what I said about the lymphs behind the ears. The function of life, y'all, starts at third eye and then is filtered behind the ears. Whatever gets filtered behind the ears gets fed to the body through the thoracic duct in that filter. So, what's crucial about keeping these filters open is this: it's like a pool. You keep cleaning a pool, right? You keep cleaning the body, you keep cleaning the body, you keep cleaning the body, but you don't empty the filter. What are you doing? Nothing. You just moving the dirt around. You just moving the inflammation around. You need an actual filter, and you need your filter working to be able to take out the toxins that make your pool dirty. It is the same thing in the body. The filters need to stay open, right? They need to stay open in order to fix the body. So behind the ears is about to be your favorite place in the world. This is why little babies get ear infections all the time, because as they're trying to process mucus at the same time they're crying a lot, these filters get full and then their ears hurt, right? The ear canal sits in between two sinus cavities, actually three sinus cavities in the face. If these sinus cavities are full, the trash cans under the filter get full, and then you have problems. So I want everybody to do something right now, and I want you to look at your phone or a mirror. I want you to watch what happens to your face on this particular side. My clients, y'all already know how to do this, okay? So this is a very easy thing. For those of you all that have asthma and all types of breathing problems, you're gonna be like, holy crap, Camille, this is amazing. It's not amazing, it's expected. Stop expecting that the body is supposed to break down and have all these issues before something is figured out. The expectation is that it is easy, it is immediate, and it is expected that the body is to stay well. That's it. That's the first thing you have to recognize in this pandemic. Because if you're thinking otherwise, if you have an expectation of illness, guess what you're going to get? Sick. So, this is crucial. I want y'all to take your knuckles on one side because I want you to see what it does to you. Take your knuckles behind your ear and don't be afraid. One of our problems is we're afraid to use pressure. The whole point in you doing it is to use enough pressure so that you can affect a change. I want you to take your knuckles against your head behind your ears. And I want you to, until I tell you to stop, I want you to do circles with your knuckles, right? I want you to do circles until I tell you to stop. And this is on short mode, right? And don't just do light massage, y'all. I need you to act like you're moving something. If you have sinus problems, you will have a mound or a hill back here that feels like a bone, and it is not a bone. It should be very smooth back there, okay? So rub, rub, rub. Again, y'all, rub with force, right? Don't hurt yourself, but come on, don't act like you're just doing little stuff. Now I want you to take your hand down and I want you to look at the side of your face that you just did that on. Because if you're looking at that side of your face where you just opened up your sinus cavity, that side of your jaw is going to be more contoured than the jaw that you did not just do. That is because you just stimulated one of the filters and the trash can. So you start behind the ear, and then you can also come down under the earlobe and do circles with your knuckles. You will feel little things that feel like jelly. Those are mucus bumps. Okay. They are going to break. So now I want you to look at that side of your face. You now have a contoured jawline that you didn't have a couple seconds ago, because that was about a minute and a half. If you do that regularly, I'm telling y'all, on both ears, asthma, breathing problems, this is the way I help heal all those breathing issues, because all you have to do is open the trash cans so that the filters and the trash cans so that they can filter clean to your body. Because if you're trying to run clean water through a trash can into your body, then you're just taking all the crap with you. You have to open the filters where the filtration system starts. That is behind the ears. Those of you that know me know I actually prefer to do that with a handheld percussor. And people are like, what is a percussor? A percussor is simply a massager that vibrates to a particular depth. So there are lots of handheld massagers, and people are like, yeah, I have one of those, or I have one of the cordless ones. Cordless ones never vibrate as hard as ones that are corded, right? Because ones that are cordless have a heavy battery. If the battery's heavy, the head's not heavy. So my company, the Wall Company, WAHL, that makes the clippers, they have some fantastic percussors, and I will put those up, I think, so that you could see them. But something as simple as that, y'all, something as simple as that. I have treated a client who had COVID, opened up her filters and trash cans behind the ears, and in 20 minutes, she felt better. The problem with that virus is it's a respiratory virus, right? That's what they say. It's a respiratory virus. But that's because it replicates here in the throat's filter if the throat has too much mucus in it. So the idea of this, of opening the filters and the trash cans underneath the ears, is that this then cleans out what is fed to the thoracic duct. And if this is filtered and clean, it will fight off anything. Like when people are asking me all the time, Camille, how do you do it? How do you do it? How do I do what? How do I stay in the same state we were created to stay in? One, because you have to understand the system of the body. If you understand the system and the functionality of the body, it is very easy to understand what is going on with you. So first and foremost, all the time in staying well in this is getting your mind together. Now, the other thing is, if you have inflammation here, I love it. Cousin, breathing better already. Awesome. That is the point. So if you've got excess fluid in the brain because your trash cans or your filters are full, it's hard to clear that. So this is crucial for you to do every night. You could do it every day. When I say, y'all, that we are not breathing sufficient oxygen to live, all you got to do is look at mortality rates. All you got to do is look at diagnosis rates. All you got to do is look at this pandemic rate. Viruses and bacteria cannot live in an oxygenated state. So the fact that this virus is spreading like it's spreading is indicative of how little oxygen we are breathing. So everything that we have to do has to be to increase the amount of oxygen we are feeding to the body, not being given. Okay. So that's an awesome way to contour the jaws. I'll teach you next week some other things to do, but I need to start at how to stay well, because you have to clear the brain, because you can't just do what I'm telling you to do without understanding why you're doing it. One, if you don't understand the intent, you'll never get to the goal. So if you don't understand why we're doing it, you're not going to keep doing it. And you're not going to tell other people how to do it. This is about collective, y'all. We are the collective, and they are trying to kill the collective. But as long as there are those of us who understand and can stay strong and can stay well, because unlike some people holistically say, I believe that you can get back to a relative state of wellness even if you've taken the V. But that takes a lot of work, not hard work, natural work, but you need to understand that symptom. So my girl just said, I have a new jawline. Exactly. And many of y'all are going to be draining mucus for the rest of the night. But I want you to understand, they would give you an inhaler that would feed the brain, and then you'd have all kinds of brain fog. All you got to do is open the body and let it function. I want y'all to get that the body has an expectation of perfect function, not an expectation of illness. So that has got to be where you start. Even if you've gotten the V and you're worried about what that comes with, you must start right now. You must start saying, okay, so I got it. I got it, body. I got it. It's there already. But let's see where we can go from here. So make sure, y'all, you keep this clean. Make sure that you keep you clean. Make sure that you love others in spite of. You don't have to like them, but you have to respect that they have their own opinions like you. So make sure, yes, make sure you get your water too, y'all, especially after you open your filters. You're going to have to get that. You're going to have to move that down. So that's exercise number one. First and foremost, most important, open the brain, open third eye. Second of all, let third eye breathe, right? That's from here. Next, make sure that we respect everybody's opinions. It may not be what you need or expect, but you have to give that person the same respect you expect. Otherwise, we're affecting the brain again. We're affecting the brain. So you need to make sure that your manifestation starts up here. That's where manifestation starts. So, y'all, thank you for being on. I will see y'all next week.